So let me explain that a little bit better. We took an example of just one cell, right? An oogonium that became a primary oocyte and started the process or started the steps toward becoming your sex cells. And then they stopped at that first prophase in the diplotin stage. So that one is just an example. All of your future to become eggs go through the same process at that point. And at birth, you have no more oogonia that will turn or convert into primary oocytes. Once you're born, that's it. There is no new primordial germ cells that are going to keep replicating or dividing and becoming or converting into an oogonium and then going into primary oocyte to give you more chances at your body producing more eggs. Okay? All of those that will be are done during your prenatal development period. Okay, so at birth, you only have primary oocytes that are arrested in the diplotin stage during prophase 1 of the first meiotic division. Before birth, all the oogonia you had either enlarged and were converted into primary oocytes, or they degenerated. And before birth, all your primary oocytes have entered into prophase 1 of the first meiotic division, and were arrested from further progression in the diplotin stage and never completed their first meiotic division before birth. So those cells haven't gone on to divide. Okay? Now, here is some interesting facts. About 2 million of these are present in your ovaries when you are born. 2 million primary oocytes. Mm-hmm. Okay? You actually had about 7 million oogonia, which converted into primary oocytes before birth, right? Mm-hmm. When your mother was about 5 months pregnant with you, you only had 2 million of them enlarge and convert to primary oocytes. So the other 5 million degenerate. We can say that you were born with all the possible primary oocytes that you will have for your life after birth. There is no further formation of primary oocytes after birth. Remember that all the primary oocytes are surrounded by these flat epithelial cells called follicular cells. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And now we can call it primordial follicle. Now remember what we started with when you were 4 weeks inside your mother's womb. We started with primordial what? Germ cells. Now, after birth, and you have these converted oogonia that converted into primary oocytes, and they started their first meiotic division but arrested at diplotin stage, and they are surrounded by these follicular cells. These are your primordial follicle. Okay, so try not to confuse the two primordial germ cells. These are the early stem cells from where the oogonia will develop, and the primordial follicle, which is the primary oocyte, surrounded by the sheet of epithelial cells called follicular cells. So now we can say that you were born with about 2 million primordial follicles in your ovaries. Now we're going to move on to after birth.